we're chilling for a moment while I took my wife to the urgent care. Wasn't feeling too well. She'll be better soon. She's just working on some bronchitis, I think. Pushed it a little too far, maybe. I don't know. But she'll be better soon. What I am on about is how AT&T sucks. I guess it would be. So, long story short, my neighbors got a piece of mail in their mailbox the other day. And in that piece of mail was a thing from AT&T. Now, I've had a long-standing hate relationship with AT&T. Their service is awful. Their customer service is even worse. And they charge too much money. So, in this piece of mail that we got, or we have not received yet because I need to go to the post office, but my neighbors have received, basically boils down to they are just going to cancel our service. Now, why is AT&T doing this? Well, they're doing this because all the old infrastructure is too much for them to handle, and they basically boiled it down to, from the neighbor actually called the AT&T help desk and was like, hey, why are you doing this? You know, they tried to shill her onto paying for this AT&T Air, which my wife and I tried about 4 months ago, and it's about the worst fucking thing, pardon my French, that I've ever used. It basically doesn't work, and when it does, if you put more than one device on it, it just falls over and barfs on its face. So, why they're trying to sell this, I don't know. But they do. It's cellular internet is what it is. Because essentially here, probably the next few months, I'm assuming it's a 90-day, but again, I haven't gotten the paperwork yet, so I haven't gotten to read through it. They're just going to turn off my service. And with that, basically means I'll have no internet. And I'll have to either sign up for a 2-year on this AT&T Air with the egg-shaped thing, or something. Because they're going to turn off the service, and that'll be that. I'm kind of disgusted by it, to be frank, as much as we pay for internet service. At the moment, I pay close to $70 a month. I'll freely admit it. I pay close to $70 a month for internet that in the summertime is basically unusable. I mean, it's supposed to be 12 down and 0.9 up. And I'm not joking. That's in megabits. And I pay $70 a month for that. Well, this gets even better. Because not only do I pay for that, but in the summertime, the internet can't stay connected. Now, so far, knocking on, I guess, faux wood here, that is one of those things that I haven't dealt with yet. But we've already seen a lot of instability in the internet. And apparently, AT&T has seen so many complaints that they've just decided they're just going to turn off the infrastructure. We're not worth it as a town or for customers. So our little quaint town in Bodek, Egypt is just going to be without internet. And it sucks. It really does. It just sucks. And it is because, you know, obviously I've been doing YouTube and whatnot, doing some content creation. I stream. I do all sorts of stuff, and I kind of need internet to do a lot of that. So, I mean, yeah, I could host a jellyfin like I do, and, you know, I could turn around and do many different things. But, sorry about that. Somebody decided to leave, and I didn't really want to be the awkward one here. So where was I? So anyway, I pay all this money to them, and they're just going to shut off the infrastructure, and it pisses me off. They took a bunch of money from the government, right? We remember this whole stimulus bill. And yeah, I know I'm not getting into politics here about it, but they took money from this bill as an infrastructure bill to actually, you know, fix our infrastructure, like the shitty internet that we have in these rural areas. And it really irks me when you see stuff like that go through and you think, oh, I'm finally not going to have a shitty experience. Well, guess what? Yar. So they took the money, they laid off staff, and then wonder why, when we get no service at all, why that's a thing. So, bottom line, AT&T sucks. and can suck dick. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Now, we have options. This is not like they're shutting off our internet and now I don't have any choices at all. Absolutely. I have choices. I could go with another cellular-based internet, which we haven't tried. I know for a fact, since my wife has been using, due to the poor AT&T internet, and before our church had Starlink, we were using a Verizon hotspot. She had purchased a Verizon phone that was a pay-as-you-go phone, and then would use it as a hotspot. And while using it as a hotspot, it's pretty cool. There is a limit to that amount of data, but we used it to hook our work machines up to it because, well, we got to pay bills, right? So I have a work machine that I do work on every day. And as a result, we used that during the day. And that does eat a lot of data, and it costs money and things like that. But largely, the internet speed is typically pretty decent, depending on placement and whatnot. So, the latency isn't that great, but the internet speed makes up for it, and I've used it many times in the past, and it's worked real well. I do worry about the long term of that, and if there's data caps and whatnot, a lot of companies don't like to give you a lot of data. So that kind of really doesn't work, but we're talking about just going through and doing that, being able to just, being able to just have a home internet that is at least free from everybody else, but maybe we have to cut back on a few things. Now, right now with AT&T, we use between 300 to 500 gigs a month on data. And that's not terrible. We get 1.5 terabytes. I think we had a really terrible week or a month where I'm guessing it's because of, I did some arch and some tumbleweed things, so maybe I drove it up a little bit, but we hit like 800 and some gigs, and I think it was Plex just beating their servers to death with some of the indexing and whatnot. So I've completely gotten rid of Plex in that regard, but I'm keeping Jellyfin. And I think that's solved our data cap problems. We'll see coming next month. We'll see the bill come through and whatnot, and I'll tell you if that actually fixed anything. Maybe it's literally something else. I don't know. It's certainly, I don't think, my server. If it is, I would be very shocked. There really shouldn't be any internet traffic on that server. All it does is run Jellyfin. That should not be hard. In fact, if I wasn't planning on running Nextcloud on it, I'd probably get rid of CasaOS and just install the Jellyfin server package and manage it from a web portal. But that's kind of getting too deep into the woods here. Beyond that, if the Verizon internet's not very feasible, even if the speed's good enough, we could pony up for Starlink. I found the other day, going on their website, putting in my address, that they do service my area. And in fact, they would ship within a relatively small amount of time and would send me, the equipment fee's a lot. It's $600 for the equipment fee. I think it's like $50 for the Ethernet adapter. Come on, Elon. Just sell me your Starlink kit with the Ethernet adapter. You need it. If you're in a wireless only mode, it's $600. And then you got to set all that stuff up, and then it's $120 a month, which is a lot. It definitely is a lot. And I don't know that it's something that I necessarily need. I'd love it for YouTube and whatnot, being able to upload videos and do work on a much better internet. Fantastic. But I don't know how feasible that is. So, for lack of other options, it's one of those things where I'm going to need to actually look at some other options too. Because $120 a month is $120 a month. I already spend money on other subscriptions and whatnot, so I try to limit where I spend them, but, internet is one of those things. I could certainly make use of it at work, because the upload on Starlink seems pretty good. Our church's Starlink, which might be an older model, can usually net about 70 to 90 down and about 20 or 30 up. And that's pretty good. We stream a 1080p live stream to Facebook on that stream. So it does pretty decently well, and I don't basically have any drops at this point. And I could survive on that. That's, I say survive. I could easily use that. That wouldn't be a problem at all. Where I would have an issue, and there's no data cap. That's another nice thing. Where I would have issues is honestly the cost. That's $600 up front, plus the Ethernet adapter, another $50 up front. That's $650 up front, and then $120 a month. And I know you could break that $650 up over the next few years to kind of make it monetarily make sense. That's just a lot of friggin' money. But, you know, Elon justifies it by giving you a good internet service. From what I've seen, it's very good. Third option is I have considered what my brother uses, which is Mint Mobile. I've seen other YouTubers use Mint Mobile and whatnot, and you could get a cell phone SIM card, put it in a cellular router, so you'd spend a couple $100 on one of those, and have something like that in the house that I could wire up and use as home internet. And the nice thing about my internet infrastructure, I have whatever source of internet coming in, and it hooks to whatever their box is. And then a cable comes out of their box and goes into my network router, which has the firewall and everything. Behind that is my NAS, well, my eventual NAS, but my little Optiplex micro server with my Synology, eventually probably a JBOD attached to the Optiplex for Nextcloud and whatnot, and my Jellyfin library. So, you know, bottom line, all that's behind my network. I can change sources and not care. So right now we're investigating options. Obviously, if y'all know of any better options, I mean, in my area, your choice is AT&T or nothing. And I don't really want to get into HughesNet or anything like that because, to be honest, Starlink is just superior to all those other satellite internets. So I don't know. AT&T, you suck. I hate you as a company. And, you know, if tomorrow fiber lines showed up at my house, that would be great. And if there were two lines, one was AT&T and one was somebody else I've never heard of, I'd go with who I've never heard of. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, I'm not stupid either. If for whatever reason, you know, tomorrow I needed to I'm not stupid either. So tomorrow, if AT&T ran a fiber line to my house, I would pay AT&T for the fiber. Even though I would hate it, if they're the only option, I would take it. So we'll figure it out. And when I do, I might do a video covering it and whatnot. I will eventually get around to doing some home lab stuff. But, you know, for now, all I'm really interested in is just making sure I've got infrastructure to get work done, because that puts bread on the table, and this doesn't. This is all just for fun. So if you like the video, I don't know what's wrong with you. You're just listening to a man rant for 20 minutes, but okay. I guess if you like it, like it. If you like this kind of rambly content where I just talk about some life things or maybe just talk about a subject, I don't mind getting in my Mighty Mariner here or the truck or even my Mustang or anything else. Just hopping in a vehicle and going for a drive and maybe just talking about a subject, maybe finding a place to park and just chit chat for a while. I don't mind. If you guys have any, you know, things you want to talk about, let me know, or just things you want to hear about. If you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more from the channel, let me know. Obviously, this in particular is going to put a damper on the channel. If I've got extremely restricted internet at home, it might be one of those things where I'm going to be looking at, you know, restricting my uploads and whatnot and restricting downloads and whatnot. So the channel might slow down. I know I'm not fast to begin with, but it's certainly going to limit me, and I'll probably have to just offload my uploading and whatnot from, I originally was just going to upload on our home internet and not worry about it, but if we're going to be heavily restricted to like a 50 gig limit or something, then I'm going to have to stop streaming YouTube all day and come up with something else, which will suck. But part 2 is figure out how to keep being able to make content and give it to you guys. And, you know, some of it too is I can go over to our local church and use their public Wi-Fi, especially because I know the IT guy. He's a pretty good guy, and I appreciate that he, not only do we run the service and whatnot, but I also try to help him when I can. And he tries to help me when he can. And we just, it's a nice relationship. And as a result, I get to use the internet when I want to. I try not to abuse it, because you shouldn't. You should not abuse people that you're friends with. But I could go find public Wi-Fi or use that Wi-Fi to upload on, or even him. I live 10 minutes from him, so I could also just go put a bug in his ear and go, hey, I'm going to come down and, I'm going to borrow your internet for 30 minutes or whatever and upload a YouTube video. And he'll probably be like, sure, whatever. So I guess that's all I have to say for today. So for now, I'll just say cheers. Hopefully life gets a little bit better here.